It's by the time that I did it, man, I was ready to, break through. I was ready to, I did it for my own personal growth. I did it so that I could know that um there would be no inhibitions whenever I took on a role. Like if I decided to take on a role, because I don't take every role that's out. Like I don't want every role out there, but the roles that I do accept,
Hmm.
um, those roles I want to be able to give 100%. I want to be able to do it with no inhibitions. I want to go pedal to the floor, all the way out. You know what I'm saying? So, um, in boxing, there was a saying, you train how you're gonna fight. You know what I'm saying? And so I use that as well, as in my training as an actor. I want to be, if I decide to do a role, I want to be well capable of doing that role with no inhibitions. I don't want to be in my head. So I do. I was very, I was very, how do you say, adamant about doing roles that would take me out of my comfort zone, so that I stretch my comfort zone. You know what I'm saying? And that's what was so priceless about the breaking through experience, was because that's what it is. That's what breaking through is all about, man. Providing a safe venue and community where everyone can come in there and stretch themselves. You know what I'm saying? Without feeling like they're being judged, without feeling like they're being shamed, and anything like. And if people that were there, if there were people that were there that didn't understand that, and you know um tried to make it weird, they would get put in place real quick. Like, nah, this ain't where, this ain't the place. This ain't the place for that. You know what I'm saying? So, um, the reason I say that is this: that was nothing for me on the Good Doctor. Like, uh, the problem I did have, now, it's funny that you asked me that, because usually I don't have a problem with that.
Mm.
When I was shooting the Good Doctor, that was around the time that I was having, and I'm still kind of going through this right now, still trying to figure out what's going on with me. I'm getting clarity on it now, but
Mm.
I started going through trouble with my liver, and it was making it to where I could not lose weight like I was used to be, and able to just shred up anytime I wanted and stuff
Mm.
like that. And
Mm.
that role called me to be shredded up. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And if you look on there, I wasn't as tight as I wanted to be, as I should have been, like the
Mm.
UFC champion. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So I very much did not like my body. I didn't like my body. I don't like it now.
Mm.
I'm very in my head about it. But the only thing that the only thing that actually helped me through that was the selflessness. Being saying, you know what, this it's not about me, it's about the role. It's about the work. You see what I'm saying? Because me being in my head about my body, the way I look and the way I personally would like to look, that has no place in the for the role. That's not what the role. And actually, now that I think about it, the role had. It's funny. Every role you get ends up being something that relates to yours to that relates to you in some way, right? So that role, that character grew up as a fat child, as a child that was obese, having problems with his weight and being bullied because of his weight. And so he ended up going to the gym, and that's how he became a UFC, because he started doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu and
Mm-hmm.
getting in shape like that. And when he actually got to a point to where he was wanted to fight, when he was fighting amateurly and professionally, he got to a point where he lost the weight, but he still had, like, because he was so obese, he had all the loose skin and everything else, and that's why he had the plastic surgery, so
Mm-hmm.
that he could look a certain way. Like, he needed to get his skin tight around it. He wanted to have his pecs look a certain way. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that really happens to men, and this was what this whole episode was about, was that that he had these pec implants because he had gotten himself to a certain place, fitness wise, physique wise,
Mm-hmm.
but but it didn't look right to him. He wasn't comfortable because of how all the loose skin and everything. So he wanted to look the way he felt and what he worked towards. So when he gets hit in the chest and that contusion happens there,
Mm-hmm.
as they're checking for the contusion, right, they
Mm-hmm.
find that he has breast cancer. So not only does he have a pec implant in his chest, he also finds out he has breast cancer as a man. So this is a double whammy. Like, he
Yeah.
doesn't want people to know he got a pec implant, number one,
Mm-hmm.
because usually you don't hear men with pec implants or breast implants, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, plastic surgery type stuff. And then you really rarely hear about men having breast cancer. You know what I'm saying? That was his whole thing, and he didn't want nobody to know about it. He didn't want to lose his pec implant because, his whole thing was about his aesthetics, and losing that, he had to lose that pec implant so they could get rid of the tumor. You know what I'm saying? But he
Mm-hmm.
was like, man, I can't get up in the ring with half my chest caved in. Like, that's gonna mess up my marketability, my sponsors. My what my fans gonna think?
Mm-hmm.
They gonna know I had a breast implant.
Mm-hmm.
They gonna know I had breast cancer. I'm not letting them know that. So
Mm-hmm.
it was dealing with, which we don't hear this much, but it was dealing with a man's insecurities about his body, about his appearance, and about his masculinity.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was that was that was an undertaking in itself, because I was like I was like, wow, that's a twist right there. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
And for a split second, I was in my head about that, when I was like, I don't know about this, but then I was like, you know what? No, no, this story needs to be told. It needs to be told. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Men have just like women, men have you know, their we as men have our how I'm trying to say how to put this. We have our idiosyncrasies about how our appearance is. We have our vulnerabilities about our masculinity, especially in the Black community. You
Yeah.
know, if you if you dress a certain way, if you look this a certain way, it's automatically your masculinity is challenged. If you dress to look good and be sexy and stuff, it's like black men can't have a sense of sexuality and sensuality without other black men calling into question their sexuality, or even black women. You know what I'm saying? Which is crazy. It's like why wouldn't you want your black men to look sexy and be desired, be desirable. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Why wouldn't you want them to have some sensuality to them? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't we be like the rest of the world looks at black men as sexual, as highly sexual beings,
Yeah.
highly sexual beings. Like, why can't we in our own community
Mm.
have a view of us that is a favorable view? You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
So, you hear it all the time in our neighborhoods, growing up. Oh, you think you something? You ain't nothing. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Oh, you think you something. Man, whatever. You ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or they mom going in on them, or
Mm-hmm.
their sister, or they chick, or they homeboys. Man, you ain't sexy. You ain't sexy. Why can't I be? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You know,
Exactly.
why can't we say, hey, bro, you look great today, bro?
Mm-hmm.
Man, what you wearing, man? You know,
Mm-hmm.
men should watch men more. So,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how the only way you're gonna understand how a young man is gonna understand how to be a man is
Mm-hmm.
by looking at a man.
Right.
And if you have an inhibition about looking at a man, or you feel shameful, like, you know what I'm saying, you're not gonna. That's the problem with a lot of these young men today, is they
Mm.
they they look to their moms as what they want to be and emulate. That's where all this feminine energy comes from all these.
Right. Yeah. I feel
You know,
that. Yeah. Yeah.
when I say feminine energy, I'm not just talking about um textbook femininity.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about men being so ready. They're so emotionally charged all the time that it only takes a couple words for them to want to get into a fight,
Mm-hmm.
or arguing with people. Like, real men ain't gonna sit there and argue with you.
So late.
Real men ain't gonna sit there and fight with you over something stupid. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? Real men don't allow emotion to drive their decisions.
Mm-hmm.
That's a feminine thing. That's a
Mm-hmm.
feminine thing. You
Mm-hmm.
see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's that. That is a. I just think that our culture, as innovative as our culture is, and as influential as our culture is, we're very, and as desired as our men and women are,
Mm-hmm.
we are the hardest on ourselves.
We are. We definitely are. And like I know for me, like it's funny you said that was one of the things I know, like as part of last year and this year I've been struggling with in terms of losing weight, because I was preparing myself for just to get back into my basketball fitness, but I also wanted to do more on camera acting, more skits, things of that nature. And I had to realize that I have to be okay with who I am,
Right,
regardless of what I look like.
right,
So obviously there are going to be certain roles that require you to lose weight or to bulk up or to shred up. So I understand that aspect as well. Like, if no one wants, in a sense, no one wants a fat person playing a superhero, but at the same time there's nothing wrong with a fat person playing a superhero,
right,
regardless, because at the end of the day, regardless, a superhero is going to be a superhero. It comes in all different color,
right,
shapes, and sizes. So I
right.
understand the notion, but I also understand Hollywood has their perceptions. Speaking of that, I wanted to ask you, because you live in Los Angeles. We talked about budgets. We talked about being on set, working with different types of people, being uncomfortable in certain moments. You even talked about making $30,000 a month, less than that. I wanted to ask you, because you talked about you had your highs and lows. Was there ever a period in your career where you felt like I had to have? Well, I guess the better question is, can you have a 9 to 5 and still be an actor? Or if you're going to be an actor, you're going to have to go in the mindset of being full time, but also realizing you don't know when your next paycheck's going to come.
Right.
So because I've met some actors who, like, this was long before. I remember when I interviewed James did full time Lyft and Uber driving while acting.
Right.
So I was wondering, is that still a thing out there in Los Angeles where you can do something like that or have a 9 to 5 or you're just doing it full time, getting every gig that you can get?
Absolutely, man. The thing is, you what people don't understand about acting, it's a business, it's a career. So you're building a career that is, you got to get momentum. You got to build it up from the ground up. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, unless you got, you know, the right person that you know, and they just start, they just bring you straight into the series regulars and stuff. I've
Mm-hmm.
seen it, but you know, it's something that you got to build from the ground up. It's not a job where you clocking in, you know, and getting a fixed amount of pay that you know you're gonna get at the end of 2 weeks. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? So you do have to have when you first start initially, you do have to have a job, a side hustle, something. Maybe you can find a way of doing something that like I'm working on getting my self tape recordings uh as a business going. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I can generate money doing it within the industry that I'm working within already.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you know, but yeah, I mean, I've had a job for the last 10 years. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And still making the auditions work, still making it, because you have to have some capital to invest in your career. So
Right.
where are you gonna get that from? You know, you're not booking gigs left and right in the game to where you can just keep reinvesting from what you're booking. You know what I'm saying? Now,
Mm-hmm.
once you get to that level, yeah, that's awesome. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like in the '90s, man. Like where in the '90s, you know, certain people would get signed to development deals where you know they pay you a certain amount of money for a certain amount of months or a year or something
Mm-hmm.
like that, and to keep you as an option for their projects. You know what I'm saying? You know,
Mm-hmm.
like 100,000, you know, for to hold you for about a year and a half. You know what I'm saying? And you know,
Mm-hmm.
you got that 100,000 to kind of work with, and maybe make some other business ventures happen while you wait. It
Mm-hmm.
ain't like that no more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
But and this is I got to get better at this, and I am determined to get better at this. Um, but I have my own um I have my own, what do you call it? I'm having a really hard time thinking these words, but I have my own, I guess, vulnerabilities about myself as far as um, I know people like my boy John has been telling me, that I need to go ahead and start making content on Facebook because they're paying, they chipping people off good money. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's making like 10,000 a month. And I just feel like, I always feel like, I've always felt like, I'm not like, there's nothing, I'm not interesting enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, but he's like, nah, that's just you, that's you thinking what you think about you. But people want to know about you. People want to know. I mean, it could be the simplest thing, but having a venue where you consistently bring content up. People are thirsty for content. And so that's something I'm actually going to get on. I mean, just seeing like somebody like yourself doing your content, and
Mm-hmm.
my boy John, it's out there. There's so many different ways to make a living as an entrepreneur using social media platforms. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And people like myself, it's it's um it's just been tough for me to make that transition. You know what I'm saying? Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm so indoctrinated to the old way of doing things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You go out there, you get your auditions in, like back in the '90s, they didn't want you out there proactive. They just wanted you to go keep your tools sharp and be ready for them auditions and book. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
to be in charge of developing your stuff and everything. But now that ain't like that. So and me, I don't really like to stay in people's face with just any old thing. I like my stuff to be um about my career. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But that's just me putting myself in a box. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying this because there's people out there that need to hear this. You know, I'm saying because I need to hear. You know what I'm saying? Um, I built I built a resume. That resume that I've built up to this point is not for it's not just for a coincidence. You know, it's not for nothing. You know, I got to use that to um to be able to make to be able to put myself in a position to make an income where I don't have to just depend on booking a project. You know what I'm saying? Maybe
Yeah.
where I can actually make money from this social media stuff and put into my own projects. See,
Yeah.
this is giving myself a lecture. This, you know what I'm saying? Because if it wasn't me, choice would be giving me this lecture. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, man, you need to get out there. You need to go and be a proactive. I don't understand you. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? But everybody needs that person that's gonna keep it real with them. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I'm not exempt. You know what I'm saying? Um, I try to be a motivational and inspirational person, but I have my own idiosyncrasies about me. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I'm in my head about how how my physique is right now, or you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And I got to get over it, or it's like get over it, or you're gonna buckle under the pressure. You know what I'm saying? So you adapt so you can thrive and you can build, or you just gonna sit and watch everyone else go. You know what I'm saying? And this
Yeah.
is yeah. So this is where I'm at right now with it. You know, and
Yeah.
again, these are the inner conversations I have with myself all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And uh, but having conversations with yourself and other people that are doing this, it just more encouragement for me to go ahead and do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would, bro, I would say I would encourage you step out there, find your niche. I mean, my niche has always been movies and TV, and then also talking to actors and people who are involved in the thing or have the same love that I do. And I can honestly say, when God put it on my heart to change my YouTube channel name to Momentum Media, and then he told me to start interviewing content creators and actors, and then I got to celebrities, and I was just like, God is opening that door for me, and it took a while to get there. It didn't happen overnight, but it's funny when I look at a video I did maybe in 2016, and then I look at a video I'm doing now. I look at how much I've grown intellectually and my content creating. So I would say, man, do whatever you feel is comfortable for you, and I guarantee you an audience will come, because what I learned about this game, there's an audience for everything. You just got to find it, whatever
Right.
it is. And but also I wanted to ask you, because this leads up to my last question. You've been in a lot of great shows, movies, shorts, commercials. I mean, it won't be long until we see you as a series regular or in a franchise of movies at some point. But I wanted to ask you, um, what's next for Farley Jackson? I mean, we know you in Spider-Man 2 to an extent. So
Mm-hmm.
what what is the next projects that you're working on personally or that you're going to be featured in?
Well, I'm glad you asked that. I just got a soft offer for a project that's being shot out in South Africa. Um, the the person that the person that basically had me in mind for this project, she was production partners with John Singleton before he passed. Um,
Oh.
yeah, and I don't know if she wants me to mention her or the project yet, so I'm not going to really mention her yet. But the way I met her was because when I booked the pilot uh, for uh, for Snowfall,
Mhm.
I had wrote John Singleton a thank you letter to his PO box, a thank you letter, and I sent him like this nice assortment of small hand sanitizing stuff. This is way before the pandemic, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they like, cherry, strawberry, chocolate, all these different scents.
Mm-hmm.
And I sent them. It was a nice little basket I sent, as a thank you for bringing me on and believing in me. And I got a letter back uh, from his from from him by way of his production partner, and she won't mind me mentioning her. Her name's Dion Ferron. Ferron, you might know of her, Dion
Yeah.
Ferron.
Yeah. Dope production.
Sweet lady.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, she sent me back a letter in regards, on behalf of him, saying that he really liked what I did on the show and that he was actually he wanted to put me as a lead on one of his a TV show he had coming out the following year.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I'm like, cool, that's cool, you know what I'm saying? But it's like a following year from now, anything can happen from that time. But I'm just like, to me, that was a big thing for me just to get that response, because people usually don't respond, you know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
And but unfortunately, that that following year is when he passed away.
Yeah.
So you know that was a hard one for me.
Yeah.
And but see, when she sent me that letter, it was she had it was a business card with a small picture of her on there. I couldn't really tell what she looked like or anything, and I wasn't I didn't know I didn't, this business is, you don't know if people want to stay in touch, or, if this is just in passing, or, you know what I'm saying? So I kind of
Mm-hmm.
just go on about my business. And about a year ago, I had a stage read with, because, Stephanie Charles, my homegirl Stephanie
Yeah,
Charles,
yeah, yeah.
and Stephen Grant, they were doing a project. They had a film that they wrote that they wanted to get some interest in financially from some industry professionals. So
Mm-hmm.
they held a stage read for some industry professionals, and Dion Ferron was one of the people that showed up. I didn't know that was her at the time because I didn't know what she looked like. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But she enjoyed my performance. So afterwards, when we're kind of having refreshments and stuff, and just having a meet and greet and everything, she came up to me, and this I'm saying this because there's a lesson to learn for this for anybody that's in the industry. Um, she came up to me and she was like, she goes, "You did really well up there. I mean, man, really well. You blew my mind." I was like, "Thank you. I appreciate that." She looks at me for a second out the side of her eye, and I'm like, "Oh God, where is this going?" Like, you know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
you don't remember me, do you? And I'm like, "Mm, have we met?" You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
now I'm thinking, oh shit, like who is this? Like what? You know what I'm saying? I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to go through my mind, like, who is this? You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, and I'm thinking, are you pulling my leg or is this serious? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't remember me? And I'm like, I'm gonna be honest. I can't pull on where I met you from. She said, "I'm Dion Ferron. I was John Singleton's production partner. I'm the one that sent you the letter on his behalf." I was like, "Oh wow, yo, thank you so much. I appreciate that." And I felt really bad that I didn't know her. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But to be fair, it wasn't very, the odds weren't stacked in my favor. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right, right.
But I felt really bad that I didn't know her. But we actually sat down, had a really good conversation. We exchanged it. We exchanged it. We exchanged numbers,
Mm-hmm.
and I had been and Instagram accounts and stuff, and I had been keeping in contact with her since that day, because I was like, you know what, that ain't gonna happen again. I'm gonna keep. Uh, I'm gonna keep contact. You know what I'm saying? Because You know, I remember how bad I felt when
Mm-hmm.
because she was part of a pivotal moment in my life, man. When I booked that role and John, and John Singleton telling me that he had a leading role that he wanted to put me in for a new TV show, you know, and her, you know, relaying that to me, I was like, man, that was a pivotal thing. I just felt bad that you know, I felt bad that I didn't know that was her. So I kept contact with her. Every month or every couple of weeks, I would just text her, call her, and say, hey, Miss Ferron, this is Farley. I'm just checking in with you, just touching base. Just want to make sure you're doing well. Hope you have a blessed and prosperous week. You know what I'm saying? She's
Mm-hmm.
like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, and I'm thinking, I hope she's not getting tired of this. You know what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you're gonna have to tell me to stop, because from that conversation, I'm like, okay, nah, you're not gonna be able to tell that to me no more, right? So a whole year goes by and I'm doing it. So last weekend, when Choice was out here, we were hanging out with Choice. He was out
Yeah.
here. We did a potluck and everything, and
Mm-hmm.
I went to go pick up Choice on Sunday at this sidecar donut and coffee spot.
Mm-hmm.
The you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Um, on the way there, I was like, it was a Sunday, and I was like, let me call Miss Ferron and just wish her a good day. So I call her. She picks up, and I'm like, hey, Miss Ferron, good to talk to you today. I was just, just calling to touch base with you. Hope you have a grand Sunday and an even better week. And I said, and she said, oh, thank you, Farley. And it's always, thank you, Farley. You know what I'm saying? So I was
Mm-hmm.
like, look, hey, listen, I just want you to know, hey, listen, I'm not I'm not trying to blow your phone up or anything. I don't want I don't want you to feel, uncomfortable. I just remember that conversation we had, and I felt badly that I didn't remember that you were part of that experience that was such a big thing to me. You know what I'm saying? And so I said, I'm just gonna reach out from now on. I'm just gonna touch base. And she said, no, I don't feel like you're blowing my phone up at all. And then she paused and she goes, actually, I might have a role for you, actually. The only problem is it shoots in South Africa. I'm like, if that's the only problem, you just let me know when we go.
Right, right.
Just let me know when we're going. I booked the flight. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Work. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
I say that to say, make sure you stay in contact with the people that you work with and come across in this business. Because as Choice says all the time, you never know. Um, you never know what they have in store. Like, just keeping in contact, it keeps you on their mind. And they may be doing a project and they say, hey, you know what? I'm doing a project that you would fit this role awesome. You know what I'm saying? It might be and that's an opportunity that you just facilitated for yourself because you stayed in touch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And plus, you never know what's gonna happen from one day to the next, man. So you know, when you meet people and they're somebody that in your life that has made an impact in some sort of way, you want to make sure that um you want to stay close, man. You want to stay close. You want to that's this is your network. The people that you come across in this business is your network, and your network is your net worth.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. We have about a little over a minute left. I gotta send you an invite, another invite, because I want
Yeah,
to continue this conversation before we head
yes,
out. But
yes, yes.
I'm gonna send you one more invite, and then we'll finish up the conversation.
All
I
right,
want to take this moment and thank our sponsors, Blurred Creations. Blurred Creations is an independent black-owned anime apparel company that produces high quality apparel on their website. If you go to Blur Creations, you get things from shirts to accessories to all different types of apparel of your favorite anime characters. And guess what, guys? We're running a special on this particular website. If you type in the promo code Momentum, you get 15% off each purchase of any item on the website. So if you are a supporter of mine and you want to support this independent black company, go to their website at Blur Creations, type in the word Momentum, and you get 15% off each purchase on their website. I want to thank you guys again for supporting our sponsors, and also, guys, be a sponsor and a subscriber of our YouTube channel, Momentum Media. We're back. Farley has been dropping so many gems. I know when you guys watch this is gonna be like almost a 2 hour interview, but you know, it's funny. I don't get this many interviews, but it's glad to connect with somebody that I haven't really, well, I've gotten a chance to connect with over social media, but never had these deep conversations.
Real talk, real talk.
And it's like I said, like I feel like I've met you guys through choice with all you guys. Like, I mean, I've had, you know, Daphne, Camille, Chantel,
Yeah,
Bree Winslow even told me she had an interesting story when I met her, when I interviewed her. She said that she met you at an audition and like y'all
yeah,
just felt each other. And then y'all
yeah,
just you said that you gave her choices information, and that's what
yeah,
set her up to be a part of the whole breaking through thing. And it's kind of funny
yeah,
how when Choice is like leading you guys and showing y'all, you know, how to be masters at your craft, it's like you're bringing other people into the fold to be masters at their own
yeah.
crafts. Because now I think Bree right now is a series regular, or she was a series regular at one point, and
I'm not
like
surprised. I'm not surprised.
yeah. So she's been killing it and stuff like that. So I wanted to ask, along with, you know, continue the conversation of what's next, because you said that you have a potential role that's in South Africa. Aside,
Uh-huh.
talk more about that. But aside from also that, is there anything that we can expect from you that you're putting out on your own, or just things that you're featuring in?
So as far as that role in South Africa, I really don't know much about it because
Mm,
it's just something that she mentioned kind of in passing, you know what I'm saying? So um I'm saying Dion Ferron,
mm,
she mentioned that to me kind of in passing, but it was not, it wasn't in detail or anything. She said she'd know in a couple of weeks, what was going on with that. So I'm still kind of, I'm on the I'm kind of waiting like you are on that, but I'll update you on that.
mm,
You know what I'm
mm.
saying? I'll
Definitely.
keep you on that. Also, me and Daff, me and Miss McGarry Clark, we're gonna we're actually working on putting a podcast together. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
that's gonna
Okay.
be, yeah, that's gonna be something to look forward to. That's gonna be,
Mhm.
yeah, it's gonna be a sight to see.
Yeah.
me, me and Dav working together. That's gonna be fun
Mhm.
for everybody, from us to the people that get to check it out, and the guests and everything. So
Mhm.
we're working on that, and then I'm also gonna be working on my own content as well. Like I
Mhm.
said, I gotta tell you and people like yourself that have the courage to do stuff like this, to step out and do and take advantage of social media, be able to take advantage of these platforms and make a living, and really not only making something that can generate income for yourself and make you independent of everything else, like make you self-contained, but also doing it while shedding light on people, man. That to me is extremely admirable. And I gotta, I want to let you know personally
Mhm.
that you are appreciated. You and
Mhm.
people like yourself are very appreciated. It touched me. It always touches me when somebody wants to speak to me, wants to acknowledge me in the work that I've done, wants to, wants to just have a conversation with me. You know what I'm saying? um, I really appreciate your platform. I appreciate who you are.
Mm,
I am a fan of you and your work. So I want you to know that. I'm a fan of the the short films that you've put together.
mm.
I think you did a Static Shock thing as well that I looked at.
Yeah, I did 2 of those. Those were not easy. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so for me, I look at that and the courage that it takes to put yourself out there
Yeah.
and believe that people want to see what you have to put out there, to really not care, just doing it because you feel passionate about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's stuff that I pull from that, and
Mhm.
I work to apply it to my life. You know what I'm saying? There's places that where my confidence lacks. You know what I'm saying? There's
Yeah.
places where where my work ethic lacks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
my work ethic, my work ethic in my work as an actor and performer is bar none. But there's other places in the business that lack, and it lacks because of you know having the confidence enough to think that I can do it. And it's all comes from family dynamic. It all comes from, you know, see, I was naturally a child that was fearless. But all that got beat out of me. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? From me growing up. And
Mm.
as even as a man today, I still battle with that. So, like, my message to the people out there that have children, that that are um creatively inclined, don't don't suppress that. Explore it. Um Pour into them. Don't don't beat them up. You know what I'm saying? Don't you know don't impose your fears and your doubts on them. Help them to be better than you. You know what I'm saying? Help them be better than you. You know, um, because the things that you do to a child leaves an impact for their life, man. You know,
Yeah.
like I said, I'm a, I'm a 40-plus-year-old man, and I still, I still battle with that stuff, man. I
Yeah.
mean, the fact that I've come this far is because I'm naturally rebellious. So I'm naturally like, when you
Mm.
tell me I can't do something, I'm my career is based on watch me. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Watch me do it. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying?
Mhm.
My career was based on that. And now more so is transitioning into a love for myself that didn't have. I didn't have a love for myself. I didn't until I met Choice and understood what it was to have love for yourself. You can't really love other people if you don't love yourself.
What, man? That's a word in itself, man.
You
You're
know,
right. It's funny. Like I wanted to, before I share what I was about to share, I appreciate you saying that because, and I do get that, especially from you guys from the Breaking Through Acting group, but I do appreciate that because, I just to share this with you, my father in particular was never really supportive in anything that I wanted to do. So when
right?
it came to like technology or acting or directing or whatever that case may be, he was more of the sports guy. Go do that. But when it
Mm-hmm.
came to stuff like that, he didn't care. So
Mm-hmm.
like I would say as a kid, I was always cautious. I was always afraid of getting in trouble, or I was
Right.
afraid of doing something I wasn't supposed to be doing. But in a lot of ways, I kind of, because I just turned 30 last month. I look at all the risks that I should have taken. I wonder where my life would be. But then I also realized that I can't get caught up in some stuff like that because God has me where I need to be right now. And I
Right,
have to
right.
keep pursuing that. And my mom always supported me in everything that I did. She was loving, but I can honestly say a lot of the choices that I made that I believe that could have furthered me as a man, just as a
Mhm,
man,
mhm.
were held back because I was trying to please or trying to, oh no, yeah, I'll say it, please my father or please a way of thinking that I should have been. And I'm like, that's the best thing that you can do for yourself is be you and figure out who you are for yourself. And I had to
Mhm.
figure this out last year. Also, figure out who you are in God.
Yes, yes,
Because, like you
absolutely.
said, if you can't love yourself, it
Mhm,
don't matter who you with, relationship wise or friendship wise. You can't really say you love somebody if you don't love you. And the
and you
one thing
can't
I this is the
disrespect it.
reason why I
Mhm,
connected with Choice so well. The
mhm,
one thing I can honestly say, and this is why I told this Choice directly, I've never heard anybody say anything bad about him. Every person that
mhm.
he's connected with genuinely loves him because he's giving off a love and a connection. He's inviting people to come in. I will say this, he ain't gonna put up with no crap, but at the same time, he's
Mhm.
going to love you and correct you in a loving way.
Right.
And
Real talk.
that was the one thing that because when you hear about Hollywood, like I've been in Florida all my life, when you hear about Hollywood and acting and all this other stuff, people are fake. You got to sell your soul. You got to have sex. You got to do porn first. You got to do all these different things, which some of that stuff is true. But
Mhm.
the one thing I've always seen Choice do, and I've seen y'all do as a collective, is keep your integrity of who you are as a person,
Mhm.
and not allow anyone to take advantage of you. A sister we know, Janessa Morgan, she was
Yeah.
recently going through something. If y'all follow me, y'all know who Janessa is. I would just encourage you to follow her page. I won't say exactly what she was going through, but she finally got out of that situation. She even said in the video, I'm not going to compromise my integrity just so I can get further where I want to go. And for
Right.
me, I remember messaging her. I said, sis, I love you. I'm gonna bless you with this. And like, the fact that you were willing to get online and ask for help and not take and not allow your integrity to be in shambles was so uplifting for me, because I can honestly tell you, when I was going through the pandemic, there were so many women and men too that I knew who signed up for OnlyFans. And hey, I'm not judging you. If that's what you want to
Right.
do
Right.
that. But like, it's weird to me how when you're at your breaking point, what are you willing
Mhm.
to do at your breaking point?
Right.
Sometimes if you don't have that foundation in God,
Right.
you're willing to sell your soul or willing to do something that you're not used to doing.
Right.
So
Right.
that to hear you tell me that was amazing, but also to
That's
see you guys' growth again. I've been following you guys for like I want to say about 10 plus years now, from the Black Lightnings to the Brotherly Loves and to all the different things that you guys are all involved in. You guys, after all this time, have still been connected and still helping each other grow. And the one thing I can honestly say that I have not seen in Hollywood is actually genuine unity. With y'all, it's genuine. With some
yeah.
of these other groups, yeah, y'all work with each other, but y'all don't really like each other. Like, it's funny, and I won't say who. I met two MCU actors out of Comic-Con,
Uh-huh.
and I come to find out they do not like each other.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
they work on screen like whenever they're scheduled. And I was like, how can you have how can you be a part such of a vast universe, but y'all
Right.
hate each other? Like, y'all
Right.
hate each other's existence, but you're allowed to work with one another. And when I see you guys love each other on and off camera, and you guys are willing to help one another. So, and I know everything's not always perfect, but that was
Yeah.
one of the things that I saw with you guys that I had not seen from a lot of actors and also people who are part of major studios. I want to tell y'all inspire me every day to be better at what I'm doing. Well, I know my acting ability and from Static is a whole lot more different now than what it is now. And that's just for me studying and honestly watching y'all, like watching, especially Choice, how he talks about falling deep into the character, understand the character. And then also, in order for you to be good at your craft, you have to practice, you have to
Right.
do things. And I always told Choice, if I ever had the opportunity, I would love to go to your class or just learn from you. And I've been
Right.
learning from him from a distance. And I know that
Mhm.
the film I'm actually preparing for, he doesn't know this, but I'm gonna hit him up to do some classes with him so he can teach me to be better. But
Dope.
it's one of those things where with all of us, especially as Black people, we
Yeah.
gotta stick together. I mean, I look at it's like you said, Farley, when you're doing a role, it's not just you're not thinking about just yourself. And that's why
Mhm.
this is why I think about momentum media. Like, as much as I get big, I don't care how many celebrities and people come on my show. As I get growing bigger and bigger, I'm always going to give an opportunity to the people who showed me love. So
Mhm.
breaking through actors, regardless of whether it's on my show or a movie I'm producing, if we in
Right.
the area and I can fly y'all out, bro, I got a job for you. What you want to do?
Right.
How can
Right.
you help me with? Because again, I want to make sure that we can all eat and grow. Now, like you said, not everybody's fitted for that position, but I can honestly say all of y'all have supported me and I've supported
Amen.
y'all. So I want to tell you thank you for that. But I also want to tell
Mhm.
you you've been such an inspiration to me growing up and seeing you on some of my favorite shows. And I didn't even realize, like, yo, I know this person. Like, we're friends on Facebook and he's on TV right now. So it's crazy. So when I see those reruns and all this other stuff, and by the way, before I'll let you, I want you to speak
Yeah.
to setting up your deals with like residuals. I know for a fact as actors,
Mhm.
depending on who your management and agent is,
Right.
uh if you are a series regular or not, you still get residuals. Is
Yeah.
that a common thing, or would you say that's something you have to work out in your contract before they cast you or when they cast you?
Typically when you're a when you're in the guild, like when you're in the Screen Actor Guild, SAG-AFTRA Guild, that is standard. You're gonna when you're doing SAG-AFTRA shows, that's standard. That's a part that has to be part of the deal. You know what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
if you end up doing if, like you're doing a show that's like non-union or something,
Mm-hmm.
they may not have that same precedent. That may not have those same rules and regulations. That's why it's important to have a guild, to be a part of the guild,
Mm-hmm.
along with the other um, benefits that come with having a guild, right? But the
Mm-hmm.
guild is supposed to, uh, at least enforce the bare essentials that you should be getting. That's the major thing as an actor is getting the residuals. That's like an artist having their royalties in publishing. You know what I'm saying? That's like a
Yeah.
musician having their royalties in publishing. You know what I'm saying?
Uh,
When somebody plays your music, you should be getting paid from it. You know what I'm
right.
saying?
Right. Right.
So it's the same concept with TV shows and movies, and when you work within a SAG-AFTRA project, that's just one of the standard things that's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
But there are shows like, for example, on the BLK network,
Mm-hmm.
that I've heard they only get paid the initial session fee, and they don't get residuals, which
Yeah.
is, to
I,
me, that's
I heard
like,
that too.
yeah, and like that's a tough one, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, but number one, the funny thing is, those networks, like that, the old network, uh, they usually they don't hire me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't get I don't get hired for those anyway. But I probably wouldn't want to do the work anyway, because I'm not, you know, the whole benefit of doing this kind of work is having that residual money from the repeats and stuff like that. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? To keep you going to the next thing, to help you build and grow. So you're really being jerked, if you ain't getting if those residuals. But that's a whole nother story about it's funny. Like, I would love to work on some of the predominantly black projects, you know what I'm saying? um but it's like there's this unspoken rule, like if you're working network television, like prime time network television, they're not going to bring you in on these other shows. They like kind of save that for the people that's not going to be working the prime time or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, they'll bring me out for the audition, like, but like Kim Coleman, I go out for her castings all the time for years. Go out for never book me on nothing. Who else? Just pretty much, it's Kim Coleman, it's Kim Harden. It's like I booked all the major TV networks. Can't book none of their stuff for nothing. You know what I'm saying? But don't think out there, y'all, is because I don't want to work on these shows. It's just that I ain't getting booked for them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So, I just want y'all to know, I would love to work on those shows, but I'm just, I guess they don't think I'm good enough for the shows, or they, like I said, since I'm working all the network stuff, they kind of save that for the people that's not doing it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I have no idea. There's never really any real rhyme for reason. You know what I'm saying? It's just is what it is. But just y'all know out there, just so y'all know, I would love to work on those shows. But just hasn't been. I just haven't had the opportunity as of yet. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, yeah, and it's
You
funny
know?
you say that because not too many actors. Like, I remember at one point. I mean, I'm only 30, but I remember I'm old enough to remember that if you were an actor on TV, you were not. It was an unspoken rule that you couldn't do movies either.
Right.
You're right now, and
Right.
I remember now. Now it's at a point where if you are an actor on network television, we
Mm-hmm.
don't want to see you on a Netflix series anytime soon. And I've personally witnessed that.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't necessarily mean there aren't actors who cross over, because there's plenty of them
Right.
who have done it. Like Simu Liu was on
Yeah.
a Netflix show. He's now Shang-Chi on Marvel Cinematic Universe. So yes,
There's always exceptions to the rule.
there's exceptions to the rule, but like something like the Black Network is funny because I do subscribe to it. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of those actors, their last project was on a network television show or a movie, but that was years ago. Like,
Right.
there was this one show that Kyle Massey was on. Last time I saw him was on Disney Channel, and
Right.
that
Right.
was his last like credit. So
Right.
if he didn't really do anything between that time and then, Black Network's not going to say no,
Right.
because
Right.
that was his last network television appearance
Right.
versus you being on network television consistently. So yes, I would like to point out, people who are watching, just because you're an actor of any kind and you want to do these different things, because there's so many things from Hulu to Netflix to Black to even what's the Tubi's doing stuff now.
Right.
Like, when there's plenty of that stuff available, but you got to understand that there's so many different markets in that. And that's why I asked Farley about about residuals, and even some and getting that money back, because residuals work differently on streaming than they do on network television.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
So,
Just the pay scale is different. Like,
yeah.
like the funny thing is, on the streaming right now, they got some of the best shows. Some of the best content is on Tubi right now.
Mm.
Where Tubi at first was like, like I got one of my straight to DVDs on, or two of my straight to DVD, which was like, you know what I'm
Mm.
saying? But
Yeah,
now,
Lovecraft Country's on there.
huh?
Lovecraft Country's on Tubi.
You see,
Yeah.
and then Netflix. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, Netflix has some dope content too. Where Netflix, they used to not. not update their catalog for years. Now it's
Mm-hmm.
like boom, they get stuff left and right.
Mm-hmm.
And YouTube TV, I
Yeah.
think they got some of the best content out.
Well, yeah.
But they not paying like that though. You know what I'm saying? So we need to, shoot, the writers are striking. Shoot, we shoot, the actors need to be getting theirs in too. Because I
Yeah.
mean, that's where the new wave is, and so I mean, we need to be getting compensated well for that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like television is starting to take a back seat to the media stuff. Like I would, you know, I used to always want to be a feature film actor, but now it's more. I want to book a series because the money is better and it's consistent. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can if you're like the lead role on a major film, boom, you can get a big whop up top. You know what I'm saying? But you know, now you got to wait till that next project. You don't know when that next project is coming. But you want a series, man. You make it anywhere. Like I said, you starting off 30,000 a week. You know what I'm saying? Then the next time you renegotiate that contract, you renegotiate it to 45,000 to 55,000 a week. Now the next time you negotiate, like for season 3, now you can negotiate up to 75,000, 80,000 a week. You know what I'm saying? There's no ceiling. It just can keep going. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I met Stephen Amell, who played the Green Arrow in the Arrow TV show.
Yeah,
Prior to him being cast as Arrow, he would
right.
do little spots here and there. He
Oh,
wasn't really a series regular anywhere.
mhm,
This was, I
mhm.
believe, I want to say, correct me if I'm wrong, Stephen, but I believe Arrow was his first series regular show. It
Right.
did 8 seasons. So after they did like episode 100, you get, that's when you get syndication,
Yes.
you get paid
Yeah.
for this. I remember when they shot the last episode of season 8, and I
Yeah.
saw him again last year, and I asked him, I said, uh will you have to ever work again in terms of like finding a particular role? And he said Arrow, like, and it, like, because I think his child's now, his daughter's now like 4 or 5. Arrow's
Hmm.
paid for that girl's college for the next 5 years, and still
Wow.
take care of his family. And then
Wow.
also it's funded his own business because he has a wine company and other businesses. So the fact that, like, you're absolutely right. When you become a series regular on any TV show and you hit episode 100, that's where, because with Shamar Moore, like, for instance, people don't understand. Forget the movies, even forget SWAT. That man
Right.
did Critical Minds for like
Yes.
10 seasons
Yeah.
and still
Yeah.
getting paid for that.
Man,
He's still.
that is for y'all out there that are in this business.
Mhm,
The holy grail, the, I tell you, for me,
mhm.
is to book a series and get to that 100th episode where you in syndication. You want to get to syndication. That's where you want to get to. Syndication, baby.
Mhm,
That's the goal right there.
mhm.
So once you get to that series regular, like my whole thing, okay, so when I first got on, it was just let me get a day player role. Let me get some day player roles. Then get the co-star. Okay, I'm getting them co-stars now. Okay, let's get to the guest stars. Okay, guest stars. I just cracked the guest star. Now I want to get into them series. And then that final thing is getting to that syndication. Syndication is where you want to be. You know
Mhm,
what I'm saying? That's where the real money hits. Like,
mhm.
that's where it be, like you said, um, it puts people in places where, they not really stressed on working right at that point. Like,
Yeah.
it puts you to where you work when you want to work, not when you have to work. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You
Now
know?
he did say to me though, the only drawback from it is that, kind of like we were talking earlier in the interview, you're pigeonholed into, okay, that's all I see you as now. As every time I see you in something else that has nothing to do with Arrow, I keep seeing you as our Green Arrow, even though you're playing a significantly different character. And he
Not
told,
necessarily. Not necessarily. I mean, for
yeah,
him, but the thing is,
yeah,
it's just I think really it's just look like again, it's about keeping diversity. It's about okay, what's your next move gonna be from Arrow? It's gotta be something totally different. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Totally different where that imagery is totally different. Like, okay, I'll give you an example, right?
mm-hmm.
Um, is his name Jensen Ackles from
Yes, Jensen
okay,
Ackles, yes,
he put the one that played Dean on Super.
yes, yes,
Okay, he went from he look how long he played Supernatural, right? Man, that was a long run. Oh my God, that's the type of run I would want. You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm.
Bomb show like that. But then he goes into the other movie. I mean the other TV series. The
Walker.
the Bad Boys. No, that was Jared Padalecki.
Oh yeah, right. You're right.
That's the one
The
that played.
boys, the boys.
Yeah, he goes to the boys,
Yeah,
and now look at his character in the boys. Totally different.
totally different. Yeah.
Totally different. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm.
you have no choice but to see him as something else,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
You have no choice. He's totally different. Totally different. He looks totally different. He acts totally different. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
So I think it's just about you got to force people to see you a different way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
Like like with Jaleel White, I just think he should have forced people to see him differently from Steve. And even then, look here's the thing. Do what okay, you know who's a good example of changing how people perceive him? Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart
Yeah.
never I always viewed him as the funny man. Never, looked at him as a serious actor, but
Mm.
he was. I thought he was making good moves. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And funny. You know what I'm saying? Stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. But I never considered him a lead male actor. You know what I'm saying? No, I don't think anybody did.
Mm-hmm.
And then look what he put on Netflix. That
Fatherhood.
no
Yeah.
before fatherhood.
That one with Wesley Snipes.
Yeah,
True story. True story.
true
Yes.
story. Now you see how he dirtied and grimied his stuff up and made it like and gave vulnerability and showed all them sides of vulnerability and darkness and grit. You know, like that's the first time I'm like, wow, I see him as a lead.
Yeah.
I'm taking him serious right here. Like
Yeah.
he can actually do some work. He dropping tears.
Yeah.
He's got an edge to him.
Yeah.
Like you know, but he took because you usually would see him like no I want to run it, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying,
Yeah.
but boom, then he goes and he did that for for almost every role he did. He was always playing that kind of role.
Yeah.
Man, that was the most brilliant move he made in his career, was
Yeah.
to do that true story joint. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't see Kevin like I didn't see Kevin Hart the comedian.
Right. I saw the character he was playing.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, especially in that because like, oh my god, because even in that show, he's playing a comedian, but it's on another level.
But see,
Like,
the thing is that was the brilliance in it because they wrote it loosely based on his life.
right.
You see, he's from Philadelphia. He's not all, you know what I'm saying? He's from
Yeah.
Philly. So, that a lot of that stuff, the content in there, he can relate to. Like a lot of it was loosely based on his life.
Yeah.
You know, Kevin, his name is Kevin in there. He's a comedian in there.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
got that family member that's out there getting him. That's a he's a f up, and he's getting him into all kind of situations. Like that he was Kevin Hart got into a couple of dicey situations in real life, like with
Yeah.
the car crash
Yeah.
with
The sex tape that
the
leaked.
sex tape. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
that. So all of this was, they 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 made it very close to his life, which would made it easy for him to connect.
Mm-hmm.
And then they put him in there with Wesley Snipes, who's not going to let him off the hook.
Oh yeah, not Wesley. Yeah, my
So
God.
it was brilliant,
Yeah.
brilliant. So you can do seasons of a role, and then do another role where you can get people from not seeing you as that role. You know what I'm saying? But it's got to be a drastic change. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
If it was a dark role you were playing that whole time,
Mm-hmm.
now it's got to be, it's got to be like a what's it called, a sitcom. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. Comedy, straight comedy.
Yeah.
Something lighthearted. Yeah.
If it was a
I.
comedy that you were doing, a sitcom for all them years, now you got to either do like a like a dark criminal type of role, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or you got to do like or an action, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Action type of role, you know what I'm saying? Or
Yeah.
something like that where, a serious action role.
Yeah. Like Equalizer
Yeah,
series, not
you know what
not
I'm saying?
Fast and Furious series.
Yeah,
Equalizer.
the
Yeah.
tactics, like, you gotta be tactful about it. But even then, while you're on these TV shows, y'all, stack your money and start putting that money into ventures. You know what I'm saying? On the side. Start getting your business together on the side, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that money, that those opportunities aren't gonna be forever.
Yeah.
Like with the situation with Don Lemon, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? How,
Yeah.
they're saying, it's like complaining that he's being fired after 17 years. I'm like, bro, that's 17 years. You should have been stacking and building your own. Like, what you think it was gonna be forever? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Roland Martin was saying the same thing because Roland Martin owns his network.
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
20. That's 20 years,
Yeah.
bro. You should have been had something already. Like, man, even if he put together where he could have had somebody that he knew be doing some kind of podcast on the side where he get broke off some of that too, or
Mm-hmm.
some kind of business on the side, or film venture or something. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like this stuff, the TV shows and the films, you know, they come, they go. So you gotta make it work for you. To me, this is everything I book is like me going to the bank and getting finance or something. Except it's something I ain't gotta pay back. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. That's very
You
true.
know?
That's
So
very
I'm just
true.
I got a project I want to do. Okay, I gotta book this. I gotta book these many projects real quick, or I gotta book this series, and that's gonna help me put this together. But have a always have a plan. This stuff when you're booking other people's projects, man. You don't know when that's gonna go out. You know what I'm saying? And then you gotta look. You gotta think about book. Well, okay, what's the next project I'm gonna book? But while you making that money, I mean, look, there's people in this game that's making 100,000 an episode. I mean, 100,000, yeah, 100,000 an episode, easy.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing with the money? Like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? What are
Yeah.
you doing with that?
Yeah.
You should be building. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I would be like, there's people that have self tape services that I would do. I would buy into their little companies, buy into their company, so I get percent of that stuff. Something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. I feel that we gonna continue this conversation. I got to send you another invite, man, because
Yeah,
we down to a minute, man. So hold on
yeah.
one sec. I'm gonna send you another invite. I want to take this moment and thank our sponsors, Blurred Creations. Blurred Creations is a independent Black-owned anime apparel company that produces high quality apparel on their website. If you go to Blurred Creations, you get things from shirts to accessories to all different types of apparel of your favorite anime characters. And guess what, guys? We're running a special on this particular website. If you type in the promo code Momentum, you get 15% off each purchase of any item on the website. So if you are a supporter of mine and you want to support this independent black company, go to their website at Blur Creations, type in the word Momentum, and you get 15% off each purchase on their website. I want to thank you guys again for supporting our sponsors, and also, guys, be a sponsor and a subscriber of our YouTube channel, Momentum Media. But yeah, what you're saying is absolutely true. Like I've always been like, with everything that you're doing, especially when you're okay, I put it like this: when you're working for somebody else, and this is for
Yeah,
people who are either working 9 to 5s or just on TV.
yeah.
If you don't have, the one thing I learned from Tyler Perry, if you're not even going to invest in yourself, you're
Hmm.
you're not going to have generational wealth. And the one thing I learned from Tyler Perry, and again, let me just say this: there's some things that I do love that he's put out. I'm not a huge fan of all of his work, but what I can say this: that man created a character that's worth billions of dollars. Not
Hmm.
everybody likes it, but he served his community with this particular character.
Real talk.
Every movie that he put out, he sacrificed an upfront check just so he can have ownership of the very thing that he created.
Right.
And now he's living off the very thing that he created,
Hmm.
where BET, Viacom, CBS, TBS, all the acronyms, ABC, are offering him jobs to put
Hmm.
his content on their networks. And
Right.
I would
Right.
say, as someone as a creative,
Right.
that's where you want to be mentally. And I think
Hmm.
and I think a lot of people like yourself, if we don't give people that game now, we're gonna people are always gonna think, oh, I gotta get this next job. I mean, the reason why Denzel can quit for 10 years is because
Right.
he's putting over 10 years worth of work, and he has money. His money's making money while he sleeps. And here's the thing: Denzel ain't got no social media,
Hmm.
ain't got nothing online. His
Right.
movies are made his money's made strictly from his businesses, movies. He's done Broadway, and he's done TV in the past. He still gets residuals from that too. So what I'm saying is that, like Farley said, have a plan. Because if you don't have a plan,
Hmm.
like, as we can see now, I guarantee you, maybe in the next 20 to 30 years, by the time we get even older, network television may go away. It may all be
Hmm.
just straight streaming, and residuals are going to look different. They look different now. They're going to look extremely different when
Yeah.
they're on streaming. I heard Martin Lawrence say, the residuals that he gets from BET in terms of them streaming his show, those
Hmm.
checks are a whole lot lighter than it being on TV. So just
Right.
keep that in mind, because when network television, it accounts for people who actually have a cable service versus people who have an internet connection. So
Right.
that's different. So I'm glad you broke that down for us. My last question I wanted to ask you, man. Um, After everything that you've gone through personally and privately, and even gone through with working with Choice and the different actors, what is the one thing that you can honestly say that you've learned from that has kept you going in all of this? Because you even mentioned, like, there are times I wanted to give up, but you kept going, you kept going, you kept going. What has inspired you to never give up in the craft that God has blessed you with?
Um, that's a good question. Well, there's a couple of things. Firstly, I believe this is a big part of what I'm here to do. It's because it's always been as as early in my life as I can remember. This is what I knew I was going to be. I knew I was going to be this. Um, I feel alive when I'm doing this work. You know what I'm saying? I feel alive. I when I'm not when I'm not performing, when I'm not doing the work, everything feels not unreal. Everything feels unreal. I feel the realest when I'm doing my work. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
That's my world. That's my world. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Um, as Troy says, on stage reality is off stage reality. Who I am when you see those roles, when you see me working, you know, a lot of that is me off stage because what you're doing, you're getting different facets of me. You're
Mhm.
getting different facets of me through my role. I'm just allowing. I don't have a method. I'm just allowing the role to use my experience. I'm allowing the role to um use who I am and use my emotions, my
Mhm.
emotional compass, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
To be filled up with all of who I am in my life experience. You know what I'm saying? So I'm always I'm always the most of who I am when I'm actually doing my work, man. You know what I'm saying? So I could never walk away from that. I just can't walk away from that. That's not what, it's what I'm here to do. You can't walk away from something you're purpose to do. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I'll find a way to make it work. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'll find a way to make it work
Mhm.
and while still keeping my integrity. Because I know how I know how um I know how shady and this business can be, how dark it can be. You know what I'm saying? I know I know how I know that all the politics and all the foolery that that goes on, that why people have, why there's people that excel faster than others. You know what I'm saying? But I know that that's not the only way. You know what I'm saying? Because why? Because I've made it this far and I know what I've done to get this far. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I know that's not the only way.
Mhm.
It may be the faster way, but my question is, where does it end? Once you compromise yourself, where does it end? You know what I'm saying? Where does it
Yeah.
end? Like you got to keep doing that to get in. You know, and it's no to me. I don't know all the stuff that goes into it, but it's just I know me, and I just know that I can't do something that I don't believe in. You know what I'm saying? Um, that being said, I believe I'm here for a purpose. Um, and like I said earlier, this isn't just about me, and it hasn't been about me, just about me since I've had people go to bat for me. You know, my manager, my agent, um, Choice as my coach and as my brother. You know what I'm saying? The people I've the people that I have met along the way that have made impacts on me. Made an
Mhm.
impact on me. You know, um, I have a responsibility to the people that support me. That's not even in the business. That are
Mhm.
supporting me right now, and like it's I can count on one hand, and I don't even have to use my all my fingers on one hand. The the people that are I have one person in particular right now. God works through people. He shows you his love through people, man. He shows you his love through people. I got a person in my life right now. And I'm not gonna mention her name just because she's not in this business, and
Mhm.
I want to respect her privacy, but she literally is carrying me right now. Carrying me. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because she knows I didn't have the foundation growing up. I never had the foundation of support, of I was never prepared. You know what I'm saying? um and God is working through her to carry me through this, man. Like I've been, like I said, I'm trying to, I don't want to get too dark in this, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But it's been a very dark process for me for a while now, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But even within that process, my my faith in God, right? My faith in Christ, right? That's the major thing, is believing his word to me as a son of his. You know what I'm saying? What
Mhm.
his word says to me. You know, when those voices of doubt come up in my mind and say, you know, you're never gonna do it because you're not gonna you're only gonna go so far because you're not willing to do what these other people are willing to, have been willing to do to get there. You're not you're not, you know, you're not I believe Christ over the doubt, over the fear, over the disappointments. You know what I'm saying? And really surrendering to the fact that I am exactly where I'm supposed to be. And but this is not where it ends. You see what I'm saying? This is not where it ends. You know what I'm saying? And seeing how he's working on my behalf through people tells me and encourages me to keep going forward. Because again, it's not about me, just about me. So I can't quit. There is no quit because I have people that I care about that really believe in me and have been pushing me and have prepared me and guided me, where I got to get in position to make sure that they good. You know, I'm not thinking about just me. We got to be good. I'm always thinking we got to be good. I got to book it. When I book this, we going to do this, and this. You know what I'm saying? And, you
Mhm.
know, now you included in that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, so, I have to sum it all up, my reason why is bigger than my reason why not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I
My
feel
reason
that. Yeah.
why is bigger than my reason why not. You know, it's too many people. It's too many people that I want to be in position to that I believe need to get their acknowledgement. They that need to get that should be working all the time in this. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
They should be working and getting them roles. So my thing is, I gotta be, I gotta get myself in position to get in the position to bring them on in, and you know, hey man, where they can do the work that they're supposed to be doing. You know, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
um, and if and hey, Lord willing, I'm gonna do it. I can do it. I've been doing it this month, this far, and it ain't gonna stop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It ain't gonna stop, man. And as long as I am topside and
Mhm.
I am able bodied, I'm going to get there. I'm gonna get there, and we gonna eat. We gonna eat, and we're going to make opportunities for the people that have been pivotal in our lives. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why, man, because it's not a me thing, it's a we thing.
Right, right. And it's funny, like I've heard so many like artists and actors, the real ones will always tell you, I never I there are a lot of things that I've done by myself, but the fact that I had a crew of people with me, and didn't have to be a big crew, just had a certain amount of few people with me who push me to be better and want to see me do better, regardless of what roles and things and opportunities I may get. Those are the people you want to keep around. because they're going to be with you regardless if you are Kevin Hart status or normal status, whatever normal status looks like. So for me, like I said, as Momentum Media, you guys will always have a platform here to promote whatever project it is. Like, because of the fact y'all allowed me to expand my platform to promote y'all when y'all didn't have to do it. I mean, and that's why I genuine, when I say there's a genuine love for you guys, there is, because all of you guys are doing something different, from making your own projects to being featured in the projects, feature films, series regulars, guest stars. There's so many things that you guys are involved in, and the fact that I was able to be a part of that in some way, shape, or form, or even got to talk to you guys about it in some way, shape, or form, is humbling to me. So Farley, I want to tell you personally, I love what you're doing, man. I love you as a brother, bro. Keep going, keep the faith, as Choice would definitely say, and keep going. And
Yeah.
I am supportive in everything that you do. You know, like I said, whatever next project you have, I'm definitely going to have you back on the shows to discuss that very thing and talk about how you got further in it. But yeah, man, this was such a impactful interview, guys. So you're watching, I'm going to put the full interview out. It's probably going to be out tomorrow because I'm going to work on it tonight. But I'm also going to put out some clips of certain parts where I feel like we had some very pivotal conversations,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you dropped some gems that I'm like, by the way, there will be a Spider-Man 2 clip. So people are watching. It's not, obviously Farley didn't say anything, but there will be a Spider-Man 2 clip out there. But I want to tell you, thank you from the bottom of my heart from doing the show. Where can we find you on social media, and also where can we find you on or how can the fans and people connect with you?
Thank you. I just want you to know the feeling is mutual, brother, and hopefully, I'm looking for that to be sooner for me to get back on here sooner than later. So I'll let you know.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
I can be reached on Facebook under Farley Jackson,
Mm-hmm.
under my fan page, Farley Jackson fan page. I can be reached on Instagram at I am Farley Jackson,
Mm-hmm.
and also I have so I also produce music and write as well,
Mm-hmm.
and so I have a music page. I am the champ. I am the DA champ,
Mm-hmm.
and then I also have my self tape page where I promote my self tape work, which
Mm-hmm.
is at the self tape stew, which is STU at the self tape stew,
Mm-hmm.
and my um my music production company page, which is Alpha Beats Stew. That's with STU.
Mm-hmm.
Alpha Beats Stew,
Dude.
STU,
Mm-hmm.
on Instagram. Um my yeah, so that's where you can find me, and you can find some of my music on all the streaming platforms, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube Music under Speak Easy. That's Speak Easy,
Mm-hmm.
the champ. Speak Easy, the champ. So you
Mm-hmm.
can see some stuff on there. See some listen to some of my tracks, some of my music on there, and I got more coming. And yeah, man, just you know, oh, me and Daphne McGarry Clark, we're gonna be putting our podcast together, so that's gonna be a hot mess.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so look out for that. That's gonna be very entertaining. And I'm also gonna be starting my own um content on Facebook as well. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll keep you abreast when that happens as well. And I'm also on Twitter at Farley Jackson.
Awesome, awesome. And yeah, definitely keep me updated, because I definitely want to be a part of that and see what you put out. Guys, if you don't know anything about Farley, I would encourage you guys to watch this interview and just go look at the catalogs of things. I guarantee you, if you've been watching TV since 2011, you've seen Farley on TV. I'm telling you,
Appreciate
you
that.
have. And I guarantee you, and it's funny to me because I said it in the interview, the first time I watched Rosewood, which was back in 2016, 2015, 2016. This is right when I
Mhm.
graduated college. And I remember seeing in between that time Brotherly Love. And I
Right.
saw you when I saw you on screen, I was like, whoa. I was like, is that who I think it is? And then I started researching. I was like, whoa. And even now, looking back at that iconic scene, which you've done more iconic scenes as well, it's funny, or it's not funny. It's cool to see how you have grown as an actor, but also grown as a man as well, and to build up
Thank
those relationships and the things that you have been able to do is crazy. So guys who are watching who are fans of mine, definitely check out his IMDb page. He has a whole bunch of credits that we didn't even get into. I mean Farley even played a cop on TV twice, I think. So like this guy has done it all. So I would encourage you to watch check out his IMDb and check out those shows. If you have streaming, I guarantee you he's on either Hulu, Netflix, and even Tubi. So check those things out. I want
Man,
to
that's
thank you.
awesome, brother.
Oh,
Thank you.
anytime, man. But I want to thank you once again for being on the show. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel where you get all dates of every time I'm releasing a video here on my YouTube channel. Support our sponsors, Blurred Up Creations, where they do blurred apparel, where jackets, shirts, and different things of that nature. Definitely type in the promo code Momentum, and you get 15% off each purchase. So
Oh
all my
yeah,
subscribers who
momentum.
watches, typing 50% off, or typing Momentum, you get 15% off. So when you support our sponsors, you support us here at Momentum Media. Thank you
You
guys
got
so
a
much for
Patreon? You got a
I
Patreon?
I do have a Patreon page. It's in the link in the
All
description
right.
below. Patreon.com/Momentum Media. There's 3
Yeah.
tiers on there. So you get special, like you get to see this interview early before other people do. So there's different perks on there as you get on there. I haven't promoted it that much, but yeah, I do have a Patreon on there. There's 3 tiers on there. So if you guys want to support us on Patreon, patreon.com/Momentum Media, 3 tiers on there. And we're also going to be putting out more content throughout the rest of this year. So the Ask Alex show, which I'll go ahead and announce, will always
Awesome
be.
stuff.
Oh, thank you, bro.
Awesome stuff.
This show will always be on Saturdays, whether I'm doing a live show or a pre-recorded show like this is pre-recorded now. So definitely want to check that out. And then I'm introducing more content as we get further along. But Farley, thank you again for being on the show. I really do appreciate you. And as always, you guys have a blessed day.